Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to episode 2 of Stranded Alien Dawn. In this episode, we will continue with discoveries, research, and of course, base expansion and securing a decent food supply. So, without further ado, let's get into the content for this episode. Okay, so we are back in. There is, of course, the thunderstorm that was at the end of the previous episode, and we were expanding out our shelter. Now, what we will do in this episode, as I said, we will continue discoveries, and let's see, have we discovered that? Yes, we have, and it's harvestable. Very good. So we can designate it for harvesting. Or we can just leave it, it doesn't really matter. I can't remember how much smoke leaf we already have, but we'll mark it for harvesting. Now again, looking around, we also have our grain cobs here. So we have quite a few, but they are not ready for harvesting yet. See that it's greyed out, so the plant is not actually ready to be cropped. In fact, by the looks of it, none of them are. Okay, we still have our buttermelons off to the left hand side there, but we do have 386 meals at the moment if you look at the item bar at the top. So the what looks like a chicken leg crossed with a grain cob says 386, so we have plenty of food. Now we're building our fourth bed. Of course, we put in that sofa as well for people to sit down in the last episode. So let us continue where we left off. Okay, so we've got a tailoring bench now. We can do wood or metal. So we will put in a wooden one. Just need to turn it around. There we go. And now we can create our own clothing, because it will become an issue, because obviously their little spacesuit outfits that they're all wearing from the ship that they crashed on will wear out and will need to be replaced with other clothing. And we are also moving through spring into summer, and after summer we will then have winter. So by then you'd most definitely want to be able to create winter clothing. Oh, flamethrowers, nice. Something else worth unlocking, as of course is construction basics. But we are currently doing fortifications, and we will start the fortification and expansion before the end of this episode. Okay, again, you need to monitor everyone's details. She currently has nothing. I thought we had marked for construction, but clearly we haven't. Yes, spear. Until 2, that's what I thought. Okay, so we currently have none, but it's just waiting for someone to actually come along and craft it. Now what you can do is order someone to do it, but at the moment not entirely necessary. We've got 2 guys with laser pistols, and we haven't as of yet had any insect waves heading to attack us. Now that's not to say that we're not going to, of course, but this has been done on easy mode, just purely because it's easier to show you guys how the game works than constantly having to deal with attacks. But the higher difficulty levels are quite fun, they are, but for this I just wanted, and I would always recommend, if you haven't yet played a game, always do it on easy first, get an understanding of the game, see how everything works, and then switch up the difficulty. Okay, so cooked emergency rations, I think we can get rid of those potentially, because we've got the veggie soup and the meat soup, and I think maybe get rid of it. Not right this second, but it is one of those things that we can remove off of the cooking list and keep those emergency rations, because they last for a very long time. Now, one of the other things that I said in the last episode, so we sorted out the schedule, but the other thing that we haven't sorted out yet is the priorities. So let's take off the simple priorities, and now let's start getting people to do what they're good at. So by hovering over them, you can see who has the highest healing skill. So you want to make that the number 1 priority for Katina, because she is the best at it. Again, hover over the different ones. So for harvesting, it's Krista, who is the best person at it. She has a level 3, so put that to her number 1 priority. Again, Krista is planting as well. We could make Edmund priority 2 for healing, So hunting is clearly Edmund, so we'll put him to priority 1 for that. Cutting is the same, and we'll put Raka to priority 2. Scavenging, again, it's Edmund and Raka, so priority 1 and priority 1. Again, let's have a look. So again, this is the same thing for mining, so again, give them number 1 priorities for it. Cooking, everyone is currently equal. However, Katina and Krista are in the base more because of their skill sets, so it is probably worth putting Katina to 1 and maybe Krista to 2 at a later point in time. So Krista is completely incapable. Raka is by far the best at crafting, so make that a number 1 priority for him. Tailoring, it's the same deal, so Raka is the best at it. And then we could also maybe do a priority 2 for somebody else. Now with assembling, again, it's Raka. So Raka is basically our build merchant. Now Krista is by far the best at observation, followed by Edmund. Research, again, is going to be Krista. And then if we go, I think deliver, that is a generic one, so we can leave that as 3 for everyone. Later on, you may want to prioritize someone doing hauling, so that as people cut down or mine resources, that somebody else is bringing it back to base camp. Now power, at the moment, we still haven't fully researched. We don't need a wedding arch, not yet anyway. And we will expand the base. Now let's have a look around the local area, because there is stuff that we want to find, and this is one of them. So let's go and observe it, because that will give us veggie leather. I can tell you that now. Once it's observed, you'll get vegetable leather, which of course can be used for clothing and other items. In fact, a punching bag as well that we will be able to craft for the entertainment of our survivors. Now let's have a look at our research. So wooden fortifications, 35% complete. It might be worth pushing people to keep doing that. And again, construction basics is another one that we're going to want. So you get brick rooms, concrete rooms, and carbon rooms. We've got incendiary traps and flamethrowers. But at the moment, oils, teas, coffees, food sources and stuff is what you want to focus on. Now on the higher difficulties, you'll find you may actually never research the tea as an example, because you're focusing continuously on researching stuff to defend your base. And it's one of the other reasons that it's worth doing the different difficulties, unless you want the game to be entirely combat focused, in which case do the more extreme difficulties, but they are challenging. Now under production, we have got everything that we need at the moment. Light and heat, we don't have to think about it too much yet, but it will probably be worth adding additional heat sources as we get towards winter. Let's deconstruct that last bed, because we do now have 4. So we have 4 proper comfortable beds, and they also can claim ownership. So that one's currently shared, that one is shared, and that one is owned by Edmund. So Edmund and Katina have claimed beds, but Raka and Krista haven't. Okay, again, looking all the way off in the distance, there's a lot of stuff for us to explore. We've got some other creatures over there that we could potentially observe, and there is a big update coming out for Stranded Alien Dawn, which is basically changing the animals so that you can have livestock, I believe, from looking at the brief synopsis of the update. Because one of the things somebody commented on the first episode was, is it worth looking at the animals? Well, at the moment, no, because you can observe them and that's all you do. You just see that they are docile or threatening, or, you know, what kind of behaviours they have, which is not really interesting. Whereas once these changes are made, we will be able to potentially have livestock, which would be quite good. Right, so what we're doing now is putting down, or thinking about putting down, a forest crop so that we have wood nearby. Now I think we can put it probably to the right of our other crops, so let's put that in. How big do we want to make it? Yeah, that'll do. I think that needs to chop down 3 bushes, but that's not a problem. That will just give us some extra sticks, seeing as we've only got 43 at the moment anyway, and it's our fuel source. Okay, so again, everyone's working away, which is good. And we should probably mark 26 out of 30. It's not fully matured yet. That's even less mature. That looks like a big mature tree. Nope, 28 out of 30. Although to be fair, we could still cut them down for wood. Let's have a look. Let's observe. We have the orange mushrooms. Now we'll be able to make a healing salve from those mushrooms once we've observed them. And also eat them, of course, as a food source for veggie soup. Now there's a lot of smoke leaf over here that we could potentially harvest. So let's go to orders and harvest and drag a little square over. There we go. And drag another square over there and click harvest. There we go. So they're all going to be harvested. So 5 raw smoke leaf from each one pretty much. So a nice little supply of smoke leaf. And we've got 6 food that is about to rot away. So 6 insect parts. It's not really something to worry about, and it's actually one of the little gripes I have with the game, that what you should be able to now do is assign someone to throw it away, but doesn't happen. So that lost harvest is where one of those smoke leaf plants has gone past its harvesting maturity and is now not able to be harvested. Now we've got 320 veg at the moment in the form of buttermelons, so we do have a lot. And of course we have our crops growing as well. Now I've also noticed that no one's deconstructed that bed yet either. But we've scavenged a load of health packs, alloys and scrap from the ship that we are scavenging. And we've got 2 people unarmed still. I don't think anyone's crafted the weapons yet. Oh no, we do have one. So where the pistol picture is, we now have one. So we have crafted 1 weapon. So where we were talking earlier, let's get rid of those cooked rations. So now we just have meat soup and veggie soup. And ideally, on the cook stove, we want to start doing better recipes. But at the moment, we can't. The reason I was fiddling with the numbers there was obviously... Oh, we've got aggressive animals. Okay, right. So we have 10 aggressive animals, so just as I was talking about it, they've appeared. So we need Edmund drafted and Raka drafted. Okay, so let's click on each person. Don't know where Raka is at the moment. Okay, he's miles away by the looks of it. Let's get our guys out. Here we go. I still had clicked on a tree there. So let's go and take the advantage and go and kill them. So we will start killing rather than waiting for the attack. Okay, that's 2 down. Oh no, I misclicked. Oh, we're getting attacked. So Edmund is now injured. So we're going to have some injuries to tend to. We've got to find the other ones now because there are still 4 left. Now we're down to 3. There's another one over here. Oh, now it's dark. That's handy. Okay, that's another one dead. Final one. And dead. There we go. Now, of course, the next thing we want to do is undraft. And then we want to butcher all of these little insects. There's some more over here. And I think there's one down there somewhere as well. There we go. So now we're going to butcher all those dead insects, which will give us some more meat to put into our meat stews. Okay, so let's see. Mild pain and a superficial bite. Treatment doesn't require medical aid. So it wasn't a bad injury. So hopefully he'll be able to sleep it off and we'll be fine tomorrow. As you can see, he's not particularly affected. His movement is at 90%. So Katina is quite slow anyway, just because of who she is as a person. And she's off to heal Edmund. So she's going to do medical treatment on Edmund because it's her priority. So here she comes. I could really have sped it up here, but still might as well watch. So in she comes, and very similar to going medieval, it's a case of hovering over the person while working with a progress bar and performing treatment. Oh, risk of meltdown. So Raka is very low on his happiness scale. So he has disturbed sleep, which is going again and again and again. He ate a quick meal, he ate on a table, that improved his happiness a bit, and his happiness is actually going to go up to where the grey arrow is. But what we do need to do is actually get him to do something when he wakes up that he enjoys. So we'll get him to deconstruct the bed because he loves construction work, and then maybe go and get him to manufacture something, and again that should improve his happiness. Okay, so Edmund is currently transporting some of those meats, the insect meats, and putting it into storage next to the stuff that's about to go out of date as well. Nice. Now if you catch the food before it expires, then, oh, I didn't realise she'd get up to take the spear immediately, but okay. And now she's making the meat stew. So that was with the stuff that was about to expire, plus some of the new meat, which allowed her to make a meat stew, because you need 10 to make stew. Now, of course, Raka's even more unhappy, because he's had his sleep disturbed 4 times, so he's at -12. Okay, come on, Raka, up you get. There we go. Right, are you going to go and do something that's going to improve your mood? Yep, he's eating. So slept in a comfy bed, +9. Decently fed, +9. Well fed, +18. Ate on a table, ate a quick meal, enough food variety. So already his happiness is going back up and his meltdown has disappeared. So that's the other thing as well. You have to monitor people's happiness because if you don't, they can have meltdowns. Now Raka, what I think we can do is maybe give him a bit more relaxation and reduce his work hours, because what that will allow him to do is more downtime. Oh, look at that lightning bolt hit the lightning rod. Now of course if we had batteries, yeah. Oh, lightning just hit our crop, and look, the crop has gone. Okay, so this is where I was saying in the previous stream, in the previous episode, you need to have lightning rods equipped to cover everything, including your crops. So as you can see, thunderstorm, it's destroyed our crop. It now needs to be replanted, and what we want ideally is another lightning rod to cover the damage that was done. So again, you can have a look at the different priorities. Katina has now reached farming 2, and she is replanting the buttermelon crop. And Raka has reached crafting 3, which is also good. So again, she's now replanting all the buttermelons that were just killed. And what we will do is build a lightning rod. So lightning rod, and what we want it to do is cover all these crops. So I think about there should do it. Yeah, there. Okay, so now that lightning rod will protect our crops from being struck by lightning and all being killed in one go, which is not what you want when they were already about 80% through their growth cycle. So we've just lost a lot of food for a simple error. Okay, so let's have a look around. We have not looked at these plants yet. We do need to observe them, and I can tell you now that they have silicon in them and are one of the materials that we're going to need as we go forwards. Now there is another plant as well up here, so this one, it's a cotton something or other once we've looked at it, but again we need to observe, and that will be material for our clothing. Now looking around, I don't think there's anything else that we haven't already observed, so the majority of stuff that we need to observe has been done. The next kind of stuff that we're going to be finding will be minerals in the ground, so in the rocks that we harvest, and different kinds of rocks that will give different materials. Okay, So, and of course our base expansion, so that we will be doing as well. And what we will do is we will build an entirely new walled area. But let's have a look how everyone is doing. We've still got Krista unarmed, but we do now have that additional weapon in stock. But nobody still seems to be destroying this bed. I think I may need to physically get someone to move it and then deconstruct it. So let's just move it outside and then deconstruct it and see if anyone's going to do it. If not, we will force someone to do it. But there's putting our roofs back on. So you can see we've got these nice little roofed areas. But again, we don't have any proper housing yet. And ideally, you do want to have simple construction and a house built, at least a dormitory for all of the beds with heating for when the winter arrives. Now again, looking around and what there is, we've got a nice patch of rocks up there. There we go, so let's mine that, and that, and that one, and oh, what's this one here? Unknown rock. Let's observe it. So I was just talking about that, so that's going to have some resources in it that we have not yet discovered. So there we go, Edmund's straight away gone off and mined all of that rock. Now we've currently got 170 in base, and he's now transporting 50 rock, 70 rock. Wow, guy's getting tough. He's got some muscles to be able to carry that amount of rock. Anyway, back to base he goes with the additional stone, but you'll notice that the amount didn't change because it already counts what you've harvested as your total amount. Now we could observe, but we're just going to hunt this bug and get it harvested. Well, butchered more accurately. And one more, come on. There we go, one dead bug. And off he goes to butcher it. No one has moved that bed yet. Oh no, no. Racker is doing it. He's moving the sleeping spot. Well done, dude. Okay, let's deconstruct it. And in fact, Racker, I might actually click on you, dude. Oh, 83% happiness. Nice. Interested in construction, of course, being one of his main things there. So Krista's 59% happiness, but she doesn't have a weapon, so let's get her to go and equip one. Of course, she was probably observing that rock. Yes, I think she was. Yep, 3% observed. Oh well, that's fine, not a problem. We do want her to have a weapon on her. And what you can also do is put secondary weapons onto other people. So let's give him a spear, so he's got a pistol and a spear. Oh, he argued with Racker about the recent hunt as well, you see. And off he goes, and he's going to do some research, which, come on, it's nearly finished, and let's get our fortifications underway. So there we go, researched wooden fortifications, and on to the next research job. But that does mean we have space for another piece of research. So what are we going to put in there? We could go with flamethrowers. We've got electric grids next, then pickling, then cereal coffee, then oil extraction, so we can then whack on flamethrowers. And once we've got flamethrowers plus our wooden fortifications, we've got some fairly decent... actually, let's swap it for tea, because we want that variety of drink and food for our settlers to keep them happy. And as you can see, still no one has deconstructed that bed. No one wants to do the job, clearly. Right, let's see if any of the grain cob maybe is ready for harvesting. It is, good. So let's go to orders and harvest. Drag it over, there we go. And what about those over there? Harvest, yeah, we can only harvest one of them, that's fine, but it is going to give us some grain, which we can then use to make other things, including that coffee that we're researching. Okay, so she's still observing the rock. We've got a load of flying bugs over there, and we've got this to observe as well, which will give us sweet syrup. So again, another item worth observing. And let's have a look around. Oh, we've got some more buttermelons growing over there, but they're a fair distance away. There's a lot of scrap near here as well, which is quite beneficial for the progress of the game, to be honest, for the more advanced components that we will be needing. My skills are improving. That is Katina as she is cooking. Now let's have a look. How are we doing? We're not drying out any meat, of course, but we have got 225 smoke leaf currently drying. So that's very good, because that will be able to make both tea and pipes. So the pipes you will craft on a workbench, and the tea is made on either the cook stove or the campfire. So, Katina has now reached cooking 3. Well, the important factor there is that we'll have now unlocked our next level of meals, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. So we now have wooden fortifications, so we can build much stronger fencing now. Let's just have a look around. Yeah, we've got all that's a big pile of scrap actually, but more importantly we've got trees here because we're looking for wood. So let's start marking these trees for cutting, and there we go. I cut that one as well because that's at 30, that's at 30, that's at 30, that is at 30. Good, we've got a lot of fully grown trees here, which is handy. Yep, that one's at 30 as well. Again, that one's fully grown. That is fully grown as well. So again, that's plenty of wood that we're going to cut down and bring back to base. So what we can do is we can start thinking about how we want to expand. So again, defensive, we could use normal fence, fortification, but also towers. Oh, we didn't click on towers there. There we go. And then we want to go with wooden tower. And near our forced entry point, so where enemies have to go, let's turn this round and put a tower either side of our gate. There we go. Let's build another one. No, I don't know why we want gate, but okay, there we go. Wooden tower. Well, we can, of course, improve the gate as well, but 2 towers for now is fine on our main entrance. And what we're going to do is we're going to expand over this side with a much bigger area. And that will move us towards the end of this episode, so it's about 35 minutes. There's about 5 minutes to go. But again, let's expand our base. After all, it's one of the things that I was talking about, so let's get it done. Okay, so that's 150 wood straight away. You can see 15 tiles, and we're going to drag that across. There we go, to about there, I think. And then back down to our main structure. Now what we also want to do is put a gate into here as well, but a proper gate, and we will need another place to put defences. So we either have the gate doors going in or out. I prefer them going out, because of course if they go in, the kind of the gate mechanism is on the outside, which to me doesn't make aesthetic sense. But that's just my own personal reasoning. You might want it to open inwards. If you do, go ahead, crack on. It's your choice. Now, these should be now fully grown. Yes, they are. Good. Okay, so 30, or 29 out of 30. Close. Oh, that was the one that we already clicked on. Geez, alright, come on game. Let's use the tree trunks. Yeah, let's cut it. It's 29. Or do we wait? Probably don't. Oh, actually, there's a fallen tree. Let's cut that for 10 wood. Is there any more down here? Yep, there's another one there. Let's cut that. You're at 29. You're at 24. You're at 29 as well. Jeez. That one I've already marked for cutting, of course. That's 26. 29. Okay. So we've got all the trees marked to cut down. They'll automatically also cut the bushes down. We've got 2 guard towers to build, and we've got a new fence area to expand our base. Research wise, we are currently working on electrical grids, and that research will finish just at the end of the episode, and we will talk about electrical and further unlocks in episode 3. Now, I don't see this being a really long series, and we might get to maybe 10 episodes or so before I close it off. And we now have our buttermelon pies have been made. See where I was talking about Katina reaching cooking 3, and in the previous episode we marked for creation buttermelon pie. Well, because we now have the grain and the buttermelons, we can make buttermelon pies. And as Katina keeps doing that, her cooking skill will improve further. Right, that's it. Raka, just deconstruct this bed because I'm losing the will to live with you guys ignoring it. There we go, look at that, dude. It took you, what, 2 seconds? And it gave you a happiness bonus because it was construction. Okay, what are you doing now? You're going to go and make her 2 more additional spears. Very good. So those tasty recipes are now being made. Of course, we don't have any stock to make anything else yet. So we can't make bread, meat pies, veggie pizzas, meat stew or veggie stew. But what we will be able to do is once we start making oil from our oil press, we will be able to make meat stew, veggie stew, buttermelon pie and also bread. The meat pie, I didn't hover over it for long enough, but I think you might unlock that as well, but again it's dependent on meat. Our crops are doing quite well, but of course our buttermelons are not because they were wiped out by the lightning, and Edmund is bringing wood back to camp to start building those fences. Now there's more trees here, so let's mark them for cutting, and of course there is the wreckage as well. That's another big tree there. Yep, that's 30. Let's cut it down. Okay, let's speed up time. Get everything underway. We're going through another night. You can see the stuff that we still haven't observed marked off there in the distance, but we have, I think, observed the purple plant which gives us vegetable leather, and again that's something else that you will see as we progress through the series. So, and they're asking for early access feedback. Well, as I said in the previous episode, and I will do it in this one as well, going to give it 5 out of 5 for everything, because I think this game, even though it is in early access, and as I said there is a big release coming out soon, so it would be good to check out that new content. It is a fantastic game. And there's the autosave. Okay. Right, people are crafting, cooking, eating, tasty meal plus 12 because it was that lovely buttermelon pie. And now we're getting some extra grain cobs. So that's going to give us even more grain so we can make more of those buttermelon pies. And Krista is off to observe that interesting rock. Again, the observation clearly takes quite a long time. We're 261 wood short at the moment of our construction requirements. There we go, we're 200 short now. I might as well cut that as well actually. And that's another tree that's at 30, so cut that. And Raka has reached crafting 4, so that's very good. And we've got those 3 cooked rations that are about to expire, so to speak. There's another log on the floor there as well, so get that cut. So we're 111 wood short. So as each tree is cut down, you can see, no, we haven't observed the purple plant yet because it's in the group over there in the background. I just saw it. Again. Okay, again, and cut. And cut. And that's it. Now that the wood has disappeared, we know that we now have enough resources to construct everything that we have selected. And we're harvesting all that buttercorn. Buttercorn? Corn. I can't actually remember the name of it off the top of my head now, even though I've said it. It's buttermelons. Cobcorn or something like that. Grain cob. That's it, grain cob. Because it's a very interesting combination of both grain and corn. So it's like corn, but it's grain cob. So we're 42% of the way with our electrical grids. And Katina, of course, is doing more cooking. And I will tell you, further down the line, she will have a breakdown because all she's doing is cooking day in, day out. So I do think you need to give your people a little bit of variety. We've got another thunderstorm coming in, but we are protected with lightning rods, apart from the fence, but it hasn't been built yet. And of course that's where our house will go, inside that fortified wall area. So our lightning rod should be protecting our crops. Our other lightning rod is protected to our base, and it's not connected to a power consumer yet because we don't have any batteries yet, but later on thunderstorms will charge up our batteries because the lightning rods can be connected to the batteries and the power will be transferred to them. Now again, just having a look around, it's one of these games where you do fairly consistently look around the local area. So unknown rock is at 77%. And of course there's loads of those sweet rocks to... oh, there you go, lightning just hit. We saw that. And the research is just about to be finished in the background as we're looking around. Again, you cannot clear that message. And our first guard tower has been built, and that brings us to the end of the episode. And as I said, that electrical research will just finish as the content finishes. But until next time, there it is, electrical grids. I'm Know It All Gaming.